two good YouTubers. I find both of them entertaining. MrRepzion, and then in response to MrRepzion, AwesomeRants have both talked about this subject, and it's a subject that I want to have my little say on this subject as well. And it's not a subject I talk about lightly, because it's a slightly distasteful subject as far as I'm concerned, because it does involve me talking about people eating things that aren't meat. I've probably given my prejudices away there, haven't I? What I want to talk about is the subject of vegetarianism and the rights and wrongs, perhaps, of vegetarianism. I want to give you a couple of anecdotes related to, I suppose, vegetarianism. And then what I want to do is, because I want to kind of promote meat eating. In fact, maybe we ought to have some kind of slogan, give meat a try. You know, vegetarians always trying to sell their vegetarianism, trying to push their vegetarianism on those of us who eat meat. Maybe we ought to try and do the same thing. You know, meat, go on, give it a go, or something like that, and insist that all vegetarian restaurants have at least one meat-eating option for those of us that don't like the tasteless crap that they serve otherwise. Again, I'm showing my prejudices there. I know there are actually some quite tasty vegetarian dishes. I'm being a little bit flippant there. Now, one thing that's come up recently with the discussions that's taken place regarding evo-psych is the importance of evidencing, of being able to evidence with a substantive body of evidence any claim that you make. So what I'm promoting meat eating now as the better of the alternatives. So what I need to do is to evidence that claim. I won't evidence it right now. I'll save that till the end of the video. I'll try and evidence my claim that it's good to eat things that move at the end of the video. What I want to do now then is firstly to tell you about my wife, because my wife isn't a vegetarian. But what she does do is she's not really that keen on meat. She'll eat a little bit of chicken here and there, but that's about it. She just doesn't really like the taste of meat. She prefers the taste of vegetable non-meat dishes than she does meaty dishes. So often when we go to a restaurant, what happens is, and this is quite telling, and this is the first point that I want to make here, she'll go and she'll order a vegetarian dish, and quite often the person will say, "Are you aware, madam, that we have some other vegetarian dishes that aren't on the menu, but they're on the chalkboard?" Now, what does that tell you? What that tells you is that, at least in their mind, nobody would order a vegetarian dish unless they were a vegetarian. Now, what possible reason could that be if it wasn't the fact that meat just tastes so good?
Thing is, Hillary, I know it's wrong. It just tastes so good.
My niece is another one. Let me tell you about my niece. She is now a vegetarian, but years back, when she was in the process of becoming a vegetarian, she told me that that's what she was doing. She wanted to become a vegetarian. She didn't think it was right to eat animals, and that the first step along the line for her was to stop eating beef. She was still eating chicken, but not eating beef. So I proposed to her that she would actually be better doing it the other way around, because obviously there's a lot more meat on a single bovine, so that, you know, for the sake of one death there, she's in actual fact causing hundreds of chickens to die, that over the course of the year she could probably live on one animal, whereas if she's just eating chickens, it's going to be dozens and dozens and dozens of animal fatalities that she's causing. She didn't particularly like my argument, one, because I think I probably didn't make her feel very good making that argument, and the other thing I suspect is that she probably actually preferred the taste of chicken. So that's probably one of those bias examples that we talk about, where we make the science fit our politics rather than allowing our politics perhaps to be informed by our science. But the thing is, there is a counter to that, which is that I'm sure if you look at the average cow in the field, I have them, they live out behind me, if they could articulate how they feel about things, I get the feeling that they probably don't really particularly want to die. They'd sooner rather carry on living. Whereas I kind of get the idea with chickens, they're so fucking stupid. That they're so insanely stupid, there's so little going on in there that it kind of doesn't really matter. There is the famous case of Mike the chicken, and Mike the chicken lost his head. Totally lost his head, and he was kept alive, I think, for something like 18 months with no head whatsoever. I'll say that again. The chicken was kept alive with no head whatsoever. I just had to stop it there just to go and check that this chicken did actually exist, and it wasn't just some mad dream I had at some stage. But yes, it's true, Mike the chicken did exist. He did live for 18 months with his owner prodding bits of food down his neck. This is what Wikipedia says. It says this is a good example of central motor generators enabling basic homeostatic functions to be carried out in the absence of the cerebral cortex. What do I say about it? What I say about it is with relation to chickens. You've got to question the value of any animal whose entire head has almost achieved vestigial status. So anyway, maybe that justifies eating the chickens rather than the bovine. No, maybe I was wrong when I laid into my niece all those years ago. People are vegetarians. This is perhaps a little bit more of a sensible bit here. People are vegetarians for many reasons. Some people are vegetarians because they think it's unethical to eat meat. Some people are vegetarians because they feel that the way animals are kept is unethical, and that's the problem they have. It's the animal husbandry, it's not the eating or the killing of the animals themselves. Some people, it's a health concern that animals are pumped full of drugs to make them grow a bit faster, or have been bred into forms. We've all seen these chickens, I would hope, these ones that they grow, the muscles are growing, the body's growing faster than the joints can take, and some of them, the joints collapse when they're young, which is a little bit nasty, really. Not to mention the really nasty stuff like the way they create things like pâté de foie gras and really odious stuff like that. And some people just eat fish because of that, don't they? Because you haven't got the chemicals put in, you haven't got the animal husbandry issues, etc, etc, etc. But here's something now that's cropping up. Experiments are being done into what's called in vitro meat, which is basically, this is meat that's grown in a laboratory. It's like some kind of, you know, fucked up Frankenstein scenario where you've got this large, throbbing, gristly piece of meat, and I'm not talking about my cock here. You've got a muscle that's growing away there without an animal attached. It sounds a bit grisly. I would be happy to eat it. I would have no qualms, and I would think on the ethical side of it, that does that. This is the point. It would make a difference for me, I think, if I had those ethical problems. I'd be interested for vegetarians. Would that swing the balance for vegetarians, or wouldn't it? Personally, I don't really have a problem with eating meat. I like to see animals kept in good conditions. There are certain things, the veal crates I objected to, transporting cattle across to other countries in the veal crates from the UK to be kept in darkness to keep the meat white. That's a nasty thing to do. I think forcing food down the throats to make foie gras, that's a disgusting thing to do. Battery farming chickens, I think, is a... Although I think, well, I don't know whether I give a shit about chickens, as I've already said. But some of these practices I'm not mad keen on. I think legislation needs to take care of that. Otherwise, eat meat. What I promised you at the end was some evidence, some good reasons to eat meat. So let me leave you with the evidence. Thank you for watching this video, and bye for now. Beautiful day, pair of pheasants. You can tell they want eating. They're almost screaming out, "Eat me, you bastard. Go on, eat me, you bastard." Yeah. Now, if you're still in any doubt whatsoever that the veggies have got it wrong, allow me to present you with piece of evidence number 2. Yeah, now that is what I'm talking about.